השכמת הבוקר 1:9. ואחר כך אומרים ברכת קריאת שמע, then we say Shema. First we said in the other chapter that there's 4 rungs of Shacharit. First is the Korbanot, then we have the Pesukei de Zimra, now we have Kiryat Shema, and then we're going to have Tefillah, which is the Amidah or the Shemona Esrei. So he says, then we do Shema, which is the 3rd rung. Umebarchin la Hashem itbarach. We bless Hashem al chidush maaseh bereshit. Like we say, Baruch HaMechadesh b'tubo b'chol yom tamim maaseh bereshit. That he renews his world with his tov, his goodness, every moment of every day. B'chol yom is every day, tamid, constantly. And this is what we said. This was all part of the idea that we said maaseh bereshit, and that it had the tov, and it's separating from the ra, is all now here alluded to in Shema. So that famous sentence that comes from Tehillim is now said here in Shema. Ze bechinat maaseh hamishkan shenivna me'atov hanal kanal. And this is again like the making of the Mishkan, which is also built from the tov, like it said, Kitziyura de Mashkena, Kitziyura de Obada de Bereshit. The structure of the Mishkan was like the structure of the building of Maaseh Bereshit, creation. So creation and the Mishkan are like parallels, like we said. So we're alluding to the Mishkan in Shema. So once we did Pesukei de Zimra, which is song, we're just furthering the point of saying it's like now rebuilding Maaseh Bereshit, which is like making the Mishkan, and that's all in this part of the Shema. Vesham ikar tikun tefillah. And here is the main part of tefillah, kemo shekatuv, ki beiti, meaning the Mishkan is the main place of giving tefillah, of saying tefillah, prayer, because the pasuk says in Yeshaya, ki beiti bet tefillah yikareh lechol hamim, nu Hashem Elokim, mekabetz netzchei Yisrael. Because my house is a house of prayer, which is the Beit Mikdash. So you see the Beit Mikdash, which is the Mishkan, is a place for prayer. Yikareh l'chol hamim will be called for all the nations, because they're going to come. Lechu v'nelcha b'or Hashem, like it says. Everybody's going to come to us. Mekabetz netzchei Yisrael. Hashem who gathers those lost souls of Israel, or scattered souls of Israel. Ki ikar benyan Beit Mikdash, because the main part of the building of the Beit Mikdash, Hu al yedei Hashem itbarach mekabetz netzchei Yisrael, is about really that Hashem is bringing back all the scattered people and lost souls of Israel. Al yedei shemotze gam behanidachim, that he finds in those scattered people ve'ovedim nikudot tovot, and that they are lost, he finds their good points, umekabetz otam ela kedusha, and he brings them, gathers them to the side of holiness. Balideze hatov sheyitkabetz, and with this, the good that he'll gather be'et biyat hagoel b'mina b'yameinu, this is what he will gather in when it's time for Mashiach to come. Balideze ye binyan bet mikdash. Like we say, there'll be the kibbutz galiot, and Hashem will gather us in, and this is the time of Mashiach, is when this happens, and this is the inyan again of the Bet Mikdash that it says Bechinat Hahar Atov Hazeh, where it says this great, good mountain, which again was referring to the Bet Mikdash. V'sham ikar tikun tefillah kanal. This is the main place of tikkun, of rectifying and saying tefillot. Ki ikar tefillah hu rak al yidei zeh v'al yidei atov shemotzi'in kanal, because this is the main part of prayer. And it's the process of gathering up all the good points again that is found, that we find, that Hashem finds. V'alken kodem atefillah omrim korbanot upesukei zimra. So we added the Shema dimension, like we said. Now just to recap, first you had now korbanot, which was singing the good points. Then you had pesukei zimra, which was like the song, singing, because we have that after you find the good points. Dahainu shemebarerin nikudot tovot. ומזה נעשה ניגונים ומזמירות, כנ"ל, we do songs. ואחר כך בונים מזה משכן. Then you get to the third section, Shema, that you build the משכן. ששם עיקר תיקון התפילה, because that's going to be the main תיקון of a תפילה. וזה בחינת ברכות קריאת שמע. And this is the idea of the ברכות of קריאת שמע, which is יוצר אור all the way to גאל ישראל is the ברכות. שם בחינת החלות דקדושה, בחינת משכן, בחינת בית המקדש. This is the idea now of the hechalot, which are the chambers, holy chambers that are in Shamayim. There are 7 holy chambers, 7 hechalot they're called. And this is the idea of the Mishkan, because the Mishkan had chambers, which is a parallel to Shamayim that has chambers. Because again, Temaseh Bereshit. And Shehem hechalot dikdusha, and these are the hechalot of kedusha. Falken omrim az, that's why we say in this section, ubtuvo mechadesh bechol yom tamid maaseh bereshit. That's why we say that Hashem in His goodness, He's renewing creation. Ki tziyura de mashkena, ki tziyura dobada de bereshit kanal. Because again, the structure of Mishkan is like the structure of bereshit. Now let me show you what is the hechalot during the prayer. Let me get the picture here where it says in the Matok Midvash, in a Sidur that has kavanot from the Rashash, from the Arizal. It's all basically from the Arizal. The Rashash just was a commentary, a great commentary and explainer of the Arizal. So it says like this in Yotzer Or section of the Sidur. V'hinei noda, it's known, ki shiv'a hechalot hem, there's 7 hechalot, chambers. B'biriyah, and biriyah, because biriyah is the world of, where we're going to say Shema. There's Atzilut, is the corresponds to the Amidah. Biriyah corresponds to Shema. Yetzirah corresponds to the Pesukei de Zimra. Asiyah corresponds to the Korbanot. Vezehu Sedaram, this is the order. 7 hechalot. First you have hechal livnat hasapir. Then you have the mala mimenu, hechal etzem hashamayim, umala mimenu hechal noga, and then you have hechal zechut, and then you have hechal ahava, and then hechal haratzon, and at the end when we're going to say Hashem Svatai Tiftach, that's hechal kodesh kodashim. Now, I didn't want to translate everything now because really it's more than just a translation. It requires explanation. So just you got to hear what the names are. For another class, maybe we can explain what each one is. But the main point to know is, as we're saying Shema and the blessings, it's as though we're rebuilding those hechalot in Shamayim, and that's like our way that we're acknowledging that Hashem is rebuilding the entire world again every moment from new. So we're saying those parts, and those new hechalot are in a way being recreated, and that's like the Mishkan being recreated. So we're alluding to that whole idea. Now it says, Umisham mebichinat ha-Mishkan, from this idea of the Mishkan, now mekabelin ha-tinokot hevel pihem. Now the children get the breath from their mouth, she'en bochet, that have no sin. Like we said in the way beginning, that the children get their breath from the Mishkan. V'zeh b'chinat kriyat Shema. And this is why it's in the Shema section. It's because it says, b'chinat v'shinantam lebanecha, you shall teach your children. Talmud Torah and teaching your children is in the Shema section. V'ilmadatem otam et benechem daber bam. We should teach our children to speak of them. Ki ikar b'chinat kirat Shema hu b'michnat hatov shenitbarer. Because again, the main point and b'china of Shema is again this idea of the tov that is going to be refined. That's nitbarer. Val yidei zeh nityached kuch habrichu shchinteh. And from this of saying the Shema, we're going to now make a zivug between kuch habrichu, which is Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and his Shekhinah. Kucha B'richu really refers to the male, not that God has male and female, he does not, but we still refer to it in how we are, just so we understand it. But masculinity also means something. When Hashem does things in a masculine way, like we say lecha to him, to you, when we talk to him, and sometimes we'll say lach, like modim anachnu lach, which is a feminine. So we'll talk to God as though he's male and female because he's going to be acting the part, not that he is that. It's all about how he acts. So Kucha B'richu is him acting as a male, and Shechinteh, Shechina Shelo, is really the way he's acting as a female, like Shabbat Malketa, the Shabbat queen. And this is really Hashem again. Instead of saying the king, we say the queen, because Shabbat is a feminine aspect, not that Hashem is a female. So that's the idea of that. But anyway, with Shema, we're making a union between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shekhinah. Now, what do we care if Hashem has a union with himself? The idea is really that we're wrapped up in the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah and all of Israel, which is called Knesset Yisrael, is really like two sides of the coin. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is having a union with Shekhinah, it really means he's having a union with us. We are the bride. We are the female in that way. So it's really us who's involved in that zivug and in that yechud. Just to say God is having a union by himself doesn't do anything for us. So it's really the unions with us. But when we say Shechinteh, you think of Israel who's wrapped up in the Shekhinah. We're not the Shekhinah, but again, it's two sides of the coin. In many ways, like it said, Israel and God and the Torah were all one. So in many ways, we don't understand how it is, but the Shekhinah and us is in a way wrapped up together. So it says, Al Yedei Ha'alat Mayin Nukvin. This brings up the feminine waters, which means this is preparation before there's a union. They call it the feminine waters, which usually when we do mitzvot and things like that, we're preparing the way for God to then be with us. So that's the idea. There's feminine waters. And then when he's with us and he's bringing down all the shefa from the union, that's called the masculine waters, Mayin Duchrin. So we get to feel all these words. Now, Shemitpa'eret HaShekhinah, the Shekhinah is like glorifying herself, so to speak, with all this that we're doing with the Shema, Kevayachol, Chazi bameh bera ka'atena legabach, like the Zohar says, and this is from a translation, it says, see what a child I bring to you. Meaning, again, what's going to come out from our union, that she's very priding in herself and feeling good, so to speak. Now it says, all this is really coming because we find the good points even in the worst of Israel. This is how we bring up the Mayin Nukvin, the female waters, by bringing up holiness from the depths of the evil, which is the kilipot. When you find a spark that's all covered in evil, and you elevate that spark and bring it back to the side of holiness, this is the idea of the Mayin Nukvin, because this now, Hashem loves that, and this now prepares the way for him to be with us, because we've done such a great act. It's like saving, again, a lost soul. The more a soul is in all trouble and all in a bad place, and then you help him out of it, and he does teshuvah, that's what it means to get a good out of all the bad. And Hashem loves that. Like we know he loves when we help people to see the good in themselves and to do teshuvah. People who help other people do teshuvah, they say there's nothing greater than that. Not the teshuvah itself, the guy doing teshuvah, that's one level. But the guy who helps a guy to do teshuvah, that's, they say, is like on a level that cannot be beat. That's why people like to do things and have movements of teshuvah movements, because now they're the guy who's going to help the other guy to do teshuvah. Ki ze ikar kevod Hashem Barach. This is the real glory of Hashem. כמו שכתוב רבנו ז"ל כמה פעמים, כמו שכתוב בזוהר, like Rabbeinu Zal says many times in quoting from the Zohar, kad ate yitro daika keden istalek v'tiakar shema d'kuchabichu ela v'tata. When Yitro came, that's when Hashem's name elevated and became great from up and below. Because since Yitro was not religious, he was the priest from all the other religions. So by him finding the truth and saying Baruch Hashem, it made a greater impression and it made greater good in the world because people now listened to him because his own people, even though they shunned him, Yitro, but at the end he made an impression and he made people see the light because he was on their side. So the lower you are, and then when you do teshuvah, it's a greater thing. Ki daika keshennitromemu ונתעלו הנקודות טובות שיהיו מנוחים למטה מאוד, בזה דייקה מתפארת השכינה כביכול ביותר. Because again, specifically, when we elevate the good points that were down below, this is what the Shekhinah prides itself and feels good about. ועל ידי זה נתייחד קודש הבריך ושכינתה, and this again you have the union of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his Shekhinah, Bechinat Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Because it says Hashem and Elokeinu is really Hashem Echad. It means it's one. Hashem's name of Hashem and name of Elokeinu is really one. Which also alludes to all the unions of Kuchabrichu and Shchinte. Everything becomes a Yechud. And that's why we say it in the Shema. Also Hashem Hu Elokim. It means Hashem and Elokim is one, which means Hashem, who is the name of mercy, and Elokim, or Elokeinu, that's the name of justice, Din, it's really one and the same. So when something goes right, or something goes wrong in your life, basically, it's really coming from the same good God, and there really is nothing that went wrong at the end. You just didn't know how to see it. So that's what it means. Hashem and Elokeinu, it's really all the same being, so it's all good. V'zeh bechinat v'haya mishkan echad. And now back to the Mishkan, it also says it was one, because again alluding to this oneness that the Mishkan alludes to, the idea also of that it's like the whole world, and the Mishkan was one, in that sense also alludes to that unity. שנכללים כל הנקודות טובות באחדותו יתברך, that all the good points become together in God's oneness. ואז מתחילים להתפלל התפילה של שמונה עשרה. Now we start to say the שמונה עשרה, which is the Amidah, ומתחילים Hashem Svatai Tiftach, Ufi Agi Tzilatecha. We say, Hashem, open my mouth and I will say your prayers. Ki al yidei kol hanal. Val yidei ze daika yecholin t'palel. Why is this coming now, the tefillah? Because now that we did all what we did and we built the Mishkan, now we can, val yidei shemotzi'in hatov shvosin Mishkan, az yecholin liftoch pe ledaber. Because now we get to that last part that we said we're going to elevate from the animal all the way to speaking, that we'll be able to have speech. So the Amidah part is the speech part. That's why we say, Sifatai tiftach, open my mouth so I can speak. Ze ikar aliyat hatov she'alel b'chinat dibur. Because the main part of elevating good is to bring it to the level of dibur, of speech, like we said. So after we did level 1, 2, and 3, now we got to level 4, which is we're going to actually speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'al ken mevakshin al ze Hashem Sifatai tiftach. And so we ask Hashem even to let me speak. It's not just enough that we will speak. We have to even ask Hashem that we can speak. Because we have to also know that even that's in his hands. And that's a great way to start to talk, is to even realize that God is the one who's in charge of me to even speak. And as we speak and we say the Amidah and all the berachot in it, we're building our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and this is the union. In Shema, we were getting ready for the union, the female waters was getting ready for the union, and this now is the union. And then when God sends down his blessing, that's going to be the male waters. So it's female waters is us, the female. We do our thing to arouse the male and to arouse Hashem to be with us. And then he's with us. And then he sends down, basically, you could say, part of the union, or after the union, then his beracha then comes to us. You can even look at it that the female waters is the female arousing the male, and then the male is with the female, and then the beracha comes, which is the baby. So in our world, when we're talking about parnasa and beracha, all that is like the baby, meaning that's what's coming out of the union of us and Hashem. He's going to shower us with all the good things and that. But in the example of a male and a female, the baby is the beracha that comes from their union. So you had all those stages.